In this movie, we're going to talk about the box plot and how we're going to create the box plot in StatCrunch. Let's talk about the data set here. Here we have a sample of movies that ran from 1990 all the way up to 2005. And we have some variables here like the title, the genre, and how good the movie was perceived by people watching the movie. And the scale goes from 0 through 10. To show you a box plot and its ability to do the analysis for you, I think it's best to compare it to something that you're more familiar with, and that is the histogram. Let's do the histogram on how good these movies are. So let's click on the graph button, click on histogram, click on how good, and click on the mean, the median, and let's compute. So here it is. This is the histogram on how good these movies are. And you can see the mean is 5.5 approximately. The median is 5.6. And the mode is probably over here near 6. So this is probably a left skewed distribution. So the histogram tells us the frequency count on these bins. It does not tell us what the minimum value is, nor the max value, nor does it tell us where the first quarter of the data is located at. Now let me show you how you would be able to get those values. So we go over here in graph, and now we're going to plot the box plot. We're going to click on how good. We're going to draw the box horizontally. We're going to mark the mean and the median. And then we'll click on compute. Okay, now what I want to do is I just want to drag the box plot so that it kind of like matches the scale with the histogram, just so that we get a sense of what's going on here. And it's not going to be super perfect, but it's going to be good enough. All right, there we go. So if I move my mouse, my cursor, to the box plot, you can see it gives me the 5-number summary and some more data. So here on the minimum, I have minimum of 1. That's over here in the whisker. First quartile is 4.5. The red line is the median, 5.6. The third quartile is 6.6. And the max is 9.1. It also gives me the mean, which is 5.5 approximately. The box plot also represents the data into quarters. Right here, you're representing the first quarter of the data, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. So let's say you wanted to look at the fourth quarter data set more closely. How do we do that? We can click and hold your cursor and then drag all the way to the end where the max is, let go, and it gives you the all the videos or all the movies that are represented in the last quarter of the data. You can see it here in pink in the histogram, and you can also see it on the types of movies. Let's say Thomas Crown Affair, right? That had a rating of 6.7, and that is part of the last quarter because the third quarter is 6.6, right? Yes, the third quarter is 6.6, and it goes all the way to the max. We can click on clear here. Now let me show you the power of the box plot. Okay, so the whole idea of the box plot so far has been, how spread the data is and representing the quarters of the data set. But wouldn't it be great to know a little bit more about the type of movie that these moviegoers are rating, right? For example, does a romance movie, does it have this type of range of ratings? A comedy, does it have this type of range of ratings as well? Wouldn't that be nice to know? Well, we can do that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you a pie graph of the genres, just to get a sense of how many movies are romance and comedy and so forth. So we click on Graph, Pie Chart with Data, and we're going to click on Genre, and then we're going to click on Compute. And very quickly, it draws a pie chart. Now, histograms are for quantitative variables, right? Things that you can count. Pie charts are mostly used for categorical data. And you can see very easily, action movies are about 10% of the pie. That's in this blue here. This yellow that you can't really see what this is, you can move your cursor over. It says documentary, 2.49%. Here you have drama, which is 25.26. That seems to be the largest slice. Now, wouldn't it be great if we can draw a box plot for each of these categories? Well, we can. Let me show you. Okay, now the exciting part. Let's click on Graph, click on Box Plot. All right, what are we doing here? We want to take the genres and we want to create this How Good box plot. How do we do that? We click on How Good, right? We're under Box Plot. We click on How Good. It's quantitative data, right? This is categorical, so you won't even see, the genres here because it's not the type of data that you would use for a box plot. Okay, so you want to take how good the movie is, and you want to put them in groups. You want to put them. You want to take the genres and create box plots and find out how good they are. And then we want to draw boxes horizontally, and we want to draw the mean and median. And let's see what happens. Aha! Wow, what a big difference between one bar graph that told us the whole data set compared to more resolution, right? It gives us, we're digging deeper into our data set. And through visual inspection, we can easily see who has the higher overall average rating. What would it be? Which genre would it be? That's right, documentary, right? The green lines are the means. The mean here is 6.768. And that green line is more to the right than the other green lines. It's kind of like a horse race, right? Who's ahead? That's pretty powerful. Maybe, you want to create a movie and you're thinking, I want, better ratings. I'm not interested in, money or budgets. I just want to create a great movie that people like. Well, you might want to think about documentaries, because it seems like 75% of the data, right? This is a quarter, this is another quarter, this is another quarter. 75% of the data is rated above, let's see, the first quartile is 6.3, right? 75% of the data is rated above a 6.3. That's pretty interesting, right? Because the average of all the films was 5.48, right? You can also see the spread of the data, right? You can see that the spread of the data for the action films is much wider than the documentary data. See how they start? Well, not start, but look how they're over here at the ends, right? And this one's more stretched out. The action one is more stretched out than the documentary one. Even the middle part of the data set, right? The meaty part of the data set is also stretched out. So the more compact your box plot is, the more it's centered around the mean and the median. And most of these are spread out from the mean and median a lot. And there is a way to describe or to quantify this spread, and that would be calculating the variance, which you can watch my next video on.